Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's a new week, it's a new day, it's a new video. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking all 20 Premier League mascots. Yes, it's the big one that everyone's been waiting for. But before we start, make sure that you subscribe if you're new here. Hit the bell so you get notifications every time I do a new video. Drop a like, comment below with your thoughts on my results, my rankings, and on your team's mascot. And if you want to support the channel, sign up to my Patreon. A couple of quid a month, you can get extra benefits and help this channel grow and move forward. You can also get your name mentioned below every video, which my current patrons have right down there, and I love them loads. Right, let's get into it. Every Premier League mascot rated, starting at number 20 with Everton. Now, Everton are 20th because they don't have a mascot, which is pathetic. It used to be Changy the Elephant, which probably would have been 20th anyway. Before that, it was Mr. Toffee, who sounds like a kids' TV character. Now it's no one. Everton, sort it out, because you're never going to get off the bottom of this ranking until you get a new mascot. At 19th, it's Liverpool, keeping it Merseyside, with their mascot, Mighty Red. Terrible looking mascot, terrible name, isn't inspiring at all, doesn't really make any sense, and that's why Liverpool are 19th. Another team that have to sort your mascot out. Come on, lads. In 18th place, it's West Ham, with their mascot, Hammerhead. Now, Hammerhead used to look like this, but after an upgrade a few years ago, and let's face it, probably taken some illegal substances, now looks like this. Absolutely terrifying. I don't know why I'd want that walking around the pitch talking to kids. Awful. 18th. In 17th place, it's Nottingham Forest. Now, their mascot had to be called Robin Hood, didn't it? Of course it did. But they could have done something more interesting than this. This is literally just a guy. This is just a man in a Robin Hood outfit. This could be anyone. It's not a good mascot. I'm sorry, Forest fans. And also, it only recently come back last year after a 3-year hiatus. Why? We don't know. What's gone on with that mascot? In 16th, it's Man City. Not used to being this far down the table with their mascot, Moonchester. Obviously based on the song Blue Moon that City fans have sung for a long time, but this is just, look at him. This is a terrifying mascot. He looks like an alien that's come to Earth to wipe out the population. The only alien at Man City should be Erling Haaland, and in fact, they should base their mascot on Haaland. City, sorry guys. In 15th position, it's Luton, which I'd imagine is probably the sort of position they'd be very happy with this season, with Happy Hatter and Hatty Hatter, with their mascots Happy Harry and Happy Hattie. What they've done there is they've taken their normal mascot and a couple of years ago introduced new one, but just by changing 2 of the letters. Again, just people in hats. That essentially seems to be their entire thing. Hattie is apparently Harry's long-lost sister, but we haven't been told why they were estranged for so long, and I think we need a bit more information there. Maybe they're working things out. But anyway, Hatters fans, Harry and Hattie, I'm so sorry, but you're quite low down my list. As I said, 15th, you probably take that. In 14th, it's Brighton and Hove Albion with their mascot, Gully. Gully the seagull. Gull. Seagull. Get it? It's a seagull based on their mascot, Seagull. This isn't, to be honest, this is exactly where mascots kind of should be, like based on the nickname of the team. It looks a little bit like a chicken, but I don't mind. The only reason they're this far down is because seagulls are inherently terrible animals to have sponsor your team. Not threatening or inspiring at all. Actually, one of the worst animals alive. So if it was a different animal, Brighton, you might be higher, but because it's seagulls, you're down there. 13th, getting into mid-table, Sheffield United. Imagine again, they'd be very happy finishing 13th this season with this mascot, Captain Blade. Sounds a little bit like a character from a pirate story, or maybe someone you'd see at the circus throwing knives at other people, but this isn't a terrible mascot. Again, it is just sort of someone in a suit as a man, but at least he's got a character and a theme. And actually, having blades, it's slightly more sort of threatening and intimidating now, which is kind of what we want from a mascot. So yeah, I'm going to put Sheffield United and Captain Blade in 13th. But it actually is Arsenal with Gunnosaurus. Now, this might be controversial because I think Gunnosaurus is actually probably one of the most loved mascots out there. And I've got a soft spot for Gunnosaurus. Like, it's great seeing him in minute silences, very funny with his long neck being held low. But the reason I put it in here is because dinosaurs have literally nothing to do with Arsenal. And it's just a very, very weird thing to be linked to your club. I don't know if it's because they're just doing a pun on Gunnosaurus. I'll admit he's a bit of a legend in the mascot game. Okay, he's got longevity, he's been there a long time, but it's weird. It's a weird one and it makes no sense. And so for that reason, I've got Arsenal in mid-table. Ahead of Arsenal in 12th, I've got Spurs. There we go, both North London teams together in the table with Chirpy. Chirpy is a cockerel, of course, and Spurs are the cockerels, and that's literally it. I don't mind it, actually. You know, look, he looks quite fun. Chirpy's a cool name. It's based on their mascot. These are all the reasons that I think this is quite a good one. Might be a bit low actually now I think about it, but I think mid-table is pretty fair for Chirpy. And obviously he fills the role of their former mascot, Oliver Skip. In 10th position, and if you're paying attention, you realise that I've got my positions and my maths absolutely out of whack. It's Crystal Palace, with their mascots Pete and Alice the Eagle. The reason I've got Palace in 10th is because their mascots are based on the nickname for the team, the Eagles, which is great, but they don't really look like eagles. Again, like Brighton, they look like giant chickens. Pete and Alice are very random names to have for mascot. It should have been like Eddie the Eagle and Edwina the Eagle. So loses marks for that. We used to have a live eagle called Kayla that flew around the pitch. And if we still had her, Palace would be much higher at the table because that is cool. That is threatening, intimidating. It's live, it's cool. But unfortunately, Kayla passed away. So R.I.P. Kayla. In 9th, I got Chelsea with Stamford the Lion. Absolutely textbook mascot here and a big fan of it. But the reason they're slightly lower down is because there's a second one called Bridget. Why is she called Bridget? Chelsea fans, let me know in the comments. That's random and weird. So unfortunately, Stamford and Bridget, 9th in the table. In 8th, we got Aston Villa and Hercules the Lion. Now, this might confuse people, but Hercules is based on the team's nickname, the Lions, apparently. I always thought it was the villains. And actually, if they had a guy in black and white stripes with a mask on and a swag bag, that would be very cool and they'd be higher at the table. But I don't mind this one. I think a lion is a pretty sort of standard mascot to have. And I like Hercules as a name, as a cool name. Also, my favourite Disney movie. So, yeah, 8th is Aston Villa. In 7th, Billy Badger at Fulham. I'm guessing badgers live in cottages. No, they don't actually, do they? They live in warrens. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's because it's black and white, sort of standard black and white. But then they could have gone for like penguins. Percy Penguin, that would have been cool. Zoe Zebra, you know, there are other options out there. But I don't mind Billy Badger. He's friendly, he's nice, much like Fulham are as a club. So yeah, I don't mind them. The 7th can go to Fulham and Billy Badger. In 6th, it's Newcastle with Monty and Maggie the Magpies, which sounds like a show on CBeebies. Monty does look a little bit terrifying, but this is solid. They're the Magpies. They were never going to be anything else, and I like them very much. And what they've done here, if you noticed, is 2 magpies, 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy. And how have they been doing last season? Absolutely amazingly. So, well, actually, it's probably more down to the massive investment of money. But there we go. Clever little play on words there. So, well done, Newcastle. You can be 6th. In 5th, it's Wolves with Wolfie and Wendy Wolf. Now, if you're a fan of mascots, you'll know that Wolfie Wolf has got a history. He used to be a bad boy, okay? In the past, he was seen fighting with the 3 little pigs, all right? This guy's got previous. But what I like about this is Wendy came along in 2003 and she's brought a little bit of tenderness to him and she's softened his edges. And now he's a much nicer wolf. And you look at them both, maybe they've seen better days, they need a makeover, but I like their story. The only thing I'll say is 2003 they've been together, so 20 years, I don't see a ring on it. So Wolfie, up your game. In 4th, it's Brentford with Buzz, who's a bee, because Brentford are called the Bees. Absolutely textbook, no notes here whatsoever. Well done, Brentford, you're in a Champions League position. In 3rd, it's Burnley. Imagine Burnley, this being high up the table, with Bertie and Bella B. Mainly because that's just a fun thing to say. Look at Bertie. Look, what a gent he is. I don't know why they're the B's and not Bertie and Bella Claret or Clarence Claret. It could have been a wine bottle. So a few notes there, but you know what? They look like a lovely couple. He looks like an absolute gent. And I like Burnley as a club as well. So yeah, 3rd place for Burnley. In 2nd place, it's Bournemouth with Sherry Bear. I really, really like this mascot. Mainly because it sounds like Cherie Blair, former First Lady of the UK. We don't really call it the First Lady, do we? But I love this mascot gets involved. So Cherry Bear was once put in stadium jail. Didn't know that was a thing, for tackling rugby fans that ran on the pitch to encroach on the pitch. What they were doing at a Bournemouth game, I don't know, but I like this, okay? It's a fun name to say. She looks cool. Is it a she? Or I'm not even sure. Maybe they're androgynous. But I just like this mascot. So Sherry Bear, well done. You are in 2nd. Which leaves number 1 spot, if you've been paying attention, to Man United and Fred the Red. Yes, it had to be, didn't it? Probably the most iconic mascot out there. Look, I'm not a Man United fan, but Fred the Red is an absolute icon. He's the daddy of mascots in the UK. Was at the top in the 90s and 2000s, really. Obviously, he had a tough few years, but he's still there. He's still supporting. there's a play on words. Fred the red, lovely. Had to be red, didn't it, for Man United? So yeah, Man United fans, you're finally back on top of the table. Fred the red, #1 spot. Well, there you go. Let me know if you enjoyed my rundown of the mascots there. Was I right? Was I wrong? Was I generous? Did I make absolutely no sense? Comment below and let me know. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Hit the bell. Drop a like. Sign up to my Patreon. Get mentioned below the videos. And I'll see you again tomorrow for another video.